You ever watch your wife twist herself into a pretzel in a yoga class, smile like she ain't smiled in months, and realize it ain't got a damn thing to do with fitness? Yeah. That's when I started paying real close attention. I'd been married to Dana for a little over 10 years. We met at a friend's housewarming. She was the type that lit up a room whether you wanted her to or not. Sharp-tongued, confident, always the loudest laugh in the group. I liked that about her. Still do, in a way. Keeps life from feeling too quiet. We had a decent run, all things considered. Never perfect, never calm, but good. No kids, just the two of us, and a black lab named Murphy who thinks he owns the house. We got our routines. Coffee in the morning, dinner around 7, occasional weekend getaways when we remembered to be human. Normal enough. But lately? Something shifted. Real subtle at first, like a squeaky floorboard you don't notice till you step on it just right. It started with yoga. Dana never gave a damn about yoga before. She used to call it glorified stretching for people who hate cardio. Then one day, out of nowhere, she signs up for this hot yoga studio downtown. Says it's for stress. Says she needs to sweat out the bad energy. I said sure. I encouraged it, actually. I figured if it helped her feel better, good on her. She signed up for the unlimited plan. 5, 6 classes a week. Bought herself a fancy mat, new leggings, even one of those big metal water bottles that clink like a cowbell when they hit the ground. She got real into it real fast. Then she started going early. Like real early. We're doing sunrise sessions now, she told me one morning while rushing out the door. It's this new flow sequence. Real powerful. I asked her if she wanted me to come along sometime. She laughed. Oh babe, it'd kill your back. You're not flexible enough for this class. I brushed it off, but it stuck with me. The way she said this class, like it was some exclusive little club. One day, I happened to pass by the studio on my way to the hardware store. Figured I'd pop in, maybe surprise her with coffee for after class. Didn't see her car in the lot, but I went in anyway. The room was full. Mirrors everywhere, fogged up from the heat. Couldn't make out much, just silhouettes. A guy was leading it, tall, wiry build, voice smooth like warm butter. Real calm. Real, intimate, I guess. His hands moved like he was paint in the air. Didn't spot Dana. Maybe she parked around back. Maybe she was in the back row, out of sight. I didn't stay long enough to find out. Just felt weird, like I was trespassing in a place she didn't want me to see. She started dressing different, too. Tighter stuff. Brighter colors. Clothes she said she forgot she had. Or found on sale. Started wearing perfume to class, which made about as much sense as cologne at the gym. One night she came home later than usual. Said the class ran over, and they did some cool-down group meditation. Afterward. Her cheeks were flushed, eyes all glossy, like she'd just come in from a run. She smelled like eucalyptus, and some cologne that sure as hell wasn't mine. I didn't say nothing. Just nodded, handed her a plate of dinner, and watched her eat like nothing was wrong. But that smell? It stuck with me. We stopped having sex around that time. Not overnight, just little by little. Fewer touches. Fewer kisses. Then excuses? Tired. Cramping. Just not in the mood. I told myself it was stress. Her job was busy, mine wasn't much better. We were drifting, but people drift. It's marriage. You adjust. Still, the bed felt colder than usual. And not just from the lack of body heat. She started sleeping in lighter pajamas. Or sometimes just underwear. Said it helped her cool down after class. That might have worked if she hadn't started tinning away from me in her sleep, pulling the covers around herself like she was building a wall. One evening, she left her phone on the kitchen counter while she went to shower. Not like her. Lately, that phone was glued to her like a damn lifeline. Always face down, always on vibrate. It buzzed once. I glanced. Just a notification from some app. Nothing juicy. But the name that popped up caught my eye, Zane. I didn't recognize it. Didn't even sound like someone she'd know. When she came back down, I asked who Zane was. She froze for half a second. Not long. Just enough. Oh, he's one of the instructors. Sends out motivational stuff through the app. I nodded. He the main guy that teaches your class? Sometimes. Why? I shrugged. Just curious. She smiled. Tight. Controlled. You getting jealous of yoga now? Nah, I said. Just wondering what kind of name Zane is. She rolled her eyes. Called me a caveman. Walked away. But I wasn't joking. Couple days later, she invited me to a class. Out of nowhere. Said they were doing a partner yoga thing. It'll be fun, she said. You get to see how hard it actually is. Now that caught me off guard. I didn't expect it. Wasn't sure if it was a peace offering or a dare. I agreed. The class was on a Saturday morning. Real busy. Lots of couples. Lots of giggling, whispering, awkward stretches and tangled limbs. That's when I met Zane. He was every bit the stereotype. Long hair in a bun, perfect stubble, tattoos of Sanskrit words he probably couldn't read. He moved like a cat and smiled like he knew secrets. He greeted Dana like an old friend. Called her D. I watched her blush. Just a little. Not enough for most people to notice. But I saw it. The poses were stupid. She was bending over backward, literally, and I was just trying not to pull a hamstring. Zane came over a couple times to adjust us. His hands were real familiar with her. On her hips, her lower back. She laughed when he touched her shoulder, like he said something funny. I didn't hear the joke. Didn't need to. After class, she asked if I had fun. I said yeah. She kissed my cheek and said, "See? He's not so bad." I didn't say a word about Zane on the way home. Didn't have to. But I started watching real close after that. Because whatever this was, it wasn't about yoga anymore. I didn't bring up Zane again, not directly. Figured it was better to sit back and see how the pieces moved on their own. People like Dana, they think they're good at covering tracks, but they forget that you don't need to hear the lie, you just gotta pay attention to the space around it. She kept going to class like clockwork. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, sometimes Sundays if she was really feeling off. Always came home glowy and loose, like she just had some kind of spiritual release. But it wasn't peace she was bringing home, it was distance. I noticed how she stopped talking about her day. Used to be I'd get the full rundown, who said what, who pissed her off, what podcast she half listened to on the way in. But lately, I had to ask just to get 2 words out of her. Work was fine. Class was good. Traffic sucked. Like she was answering a quiz, not talking to her husband. I started keeping a mental log. Not out of paranoia. Just curiosity. Monday, class. Wednesday, class. Stayed out late. Friday, said she went to dinner with a few girls from class, but didn't name any of them. And then Sunday came. She said she was doing a private breathwork session that Zane offered for advanced students. Supposedly only a few folks were invited. I asked her where it was, and she got real vague. Oh, just a little studio he rents on the side. It's more intimate. She actually said that. Intimate. Then caught herself and added, I mean like quieter. Fewer people. I nodded and said I hoped it was good for her. She smiled. It's not a big deal. He just thinks I have good potential. Potential for what? I asked. She paused for a beat. For growth. Now, I'm not a mind reader, but I'm not a damn idiot either. It's not that she was acting full-blown shady. It was that she was getting real comfortable not including me. Like her life had a whole separate room now, and I wasn't allowed past the threshold. I didn't push it. I didn't want to be the guy making wild accusations over nothing. But I knew something was twisting underneath all that incense and stretchy fabric. So I started talking less too. Let her do her thing. Gave her space. And I watched. One night, she got in the shower and left her gym bag on the floor. Normally she's real careful about that, zipped tight, tucked away. But that night, she was careless. Maybe tired. Maybe just too confident. I didn't dig. I ain't the snoopin' type. But I did notice a small, rolled-up towel with the initials ZM embroidered in the corner. That wasn't hers. Wasn't from the studio either, they didn't do monograms. Zane Mendez. That was his last name. I remembered seeing it on the class waiver. I didn't say anything. Just put the towel right back where it was and left it alone. Things kept on that way for a few more weeks. Her answers got shorter. Her showers got longer. Her excuses got thinner. She started leaving earlier for class. Zane's doing a pre-flow warm-up for people who want to deepen their practice, she said. I'm trying to be consistent. Sometimes she'd come back with flowers, little bouquets, wildflowers mostly. I asked where they came from, and she said, "Oh, the studio leaves them out sometimes." That didn't sound right, but again, I let it go. A man can only pick so many battles before he starts feeling like he's wadding through fog with no map. One Friday, I came home early from work. She was already gone. Said she had a class and dinner after with the girls. I took Murphy for a long walk down by the lake, tried to clear my head. On the way back, I saw her car parked at that same private yoga space she said Zane rented. No lights were on. It was just her car. Alone. No other students. No girls. No signs of a class at all. I parked across the street and waited about 20 minutes. Still no one else showed. I didn't go knocking or peek through any windows. I just sat there in my truck, hand on the wheel, stomach twisting like I'd swallowed a bag of nails. After a while, I drove home. She came back a couple hours later, carrying takeout bags. Thai food. Said they tried a new place after class. She talked about a fake conversation she had with one of the girls, Rachel or Lauren, some name I'd never heard before. I asked her how the food was. She said, "Spicy but good." Then she kissed me on the head and went to shower. That night I laid in bed and stared at the ceiling fan while she slept next to me. Her breathing was slow, steady, peaceful. And I just kept hearing that word again. Intimate. Next morning, I told her I was thinking of joining a class again. Maybe Saturday, I said. Partner yoga was fun. Thought I might try the regular kind. She stiffened, just a bit. Not much. But I saw it. Oh, she said. You probably wouldn't like Zane's class. It's real advanced now. I can keep up, I said. She shrugged. Well, maybe not this week. It's already full. Right. She left that evening for what she said was a weekend retreat. Spiritual reset, she called it. Zane was hosting. It's up in the hills, she said. No phones, no distractions. Just pure energy. I nodded. Wished her a good time. She smiled. Hugged me longer than usual. And then she was gone. I sat on the porch with Murphy, just staring out at the trees and listening to the wind roll through the branches. And for the first time in weeks, I felt calm. Because I knew I wasn't gonna have to wonder much longer. After she got back from that yoga retreat, things didn't spiral like I figured they would. Actually, they calmed down. I know how that sounds. After all the late nights, the private sessions, the perfume that wasn't mine, it'd make sense to think the dam was about to break. But it didn't. Instead, Dana started acting like my wife again. First thing that caught me off guard, she cooked dinner. We'd been living off takeout and frozen stuff for months. She always claimed she was too tired after class, or that we should try intuitive eating, whatever that means. But Tuesday night she came home from work, before yoga, and started pulling out pots and pans like we were newlyweds. Spaghetti carbonara. Real bacon. Garlic bread. Even poured me a whiskey while she chopped garlic. She looked relaxed. Happy. Thought you deserved something homemade, she said, hand on my shoulder. That night we actually sat at the table. No phones. Just her smiling across from me, talking about work and Murphy's new obsession with squirrels. I didn't know what to make of it. Part of me thought maybe she felt guilty about something. Maybe she was doing something wrong and trying to course correct. But the other part of me, the one that still wanted to believe in her, just sat back and enjoyed the meal. And it didn't stop there. The next few days, she got touchy again, little things. Hand on my back when she walked by. Arm draped over my chest while we watched TV. She even reached for my hand in the car on the way to the store. It was like we were coming out of something. Like she'd been in a fog and finally remembered how to be close to me again. We even had sex. Twice. I won't sit here and say it felt the same as it used to. It didn't. But it wasn't cold. It wasn't robotic. It felt like her trying. And maybe that's all I needed at the time. She started bringing me up again, too. At dinner one night, she told me that Zane asked how long we'd been married. He was impressed, she said. Said most couples don't last past 5 years anymore. I raised an eyebrow. He asked a lot about me? She laughed. I talk about you. You're a part of my life, you know. I didn't push. But something in her voice felt sincere. Even Murphy warmed back up to her. I noticed how he'd started hinging near me more lately. But this week he was back to following her around the kitchen, leaning against her legs, staring at her like she invented snacks. He always was a sucker for her sweet voice. One night I came home from work and caught her in the middle of the living room in one of her flowy tank tops, doing a slow routine with the lights down low. She looked peaceful, like someone who'd made peace with herself. She didn't notice me at first. I just stood there watching her breathe, stretch, move. And I swear, in that moment, all the doubts that had been weighing me down, they lifted, just a little. Maybe she just needed time. Maybe she really was overwhelmed and needed space and found something in yoga that helped her remember who she was. Maybe it had nothing to do with him. We went to breakfast that Saturday. Just the two of us. She wore that old sundress I used to love, the one that always meant a good mood. Talked about maybe booking a weekend away in the spring. Just the two of us, no phones. I miss us, she said, sipping her coffee. I want more of this. And damn it, I believed her. The next week, she brought up cutting back on classes. Said the routine was wearing her out, and she wanted more balance. I don't need yoga 6 days a week to feel okay, she told me one night while folding laundry. I've been chasing clarity, but maybe I already have it. She smiled. Kissed my shoulder. I looked at her and felt something I hadn't in a long time. Hope. That Friday, she skipped class altogether. Came home with groceries and made steak. We ate out on the porch, Murphy at our feet, sun slipping down behind the trees like a postcard. She looked at me and said, I feel like things are getting better. I nodded. They are. And I meant it. That night, when I crawled into bed next to her, she curled into me like she used to. It wasn't fireworks. It wasn't magic. But it felt real. It felt like maybe, just maybe, we were still in this thing together. I stopped keeping mental logs. Stopped watching the clock when she left for class. Stopped overanalyzing her words, her expressions, her stories. She was here. With me. And for the first time in months, I finally let myself believe it. Maybe I just imagined the worst. Maybe she really had been lost, and found her way back. Hell, maybe I'd been the distant one without even knowing it. Whatever it was, I let it go. I chose to trust her again. And for a little while, that felt like the right choice. By the time April rolled in, things between us felt normal. Not perfect. But settled. Like the last round of a storm had passed and left everything just a little softer. Dana was lighter. Smiled more. Talked more. She still went to class a couple times a week, but it wasn't obsessive like before. No more early morning disappearances or surprise retreats. She even started sending me little photos during the day. Her coffee, Murphy sleeping in the sun, one of her feet up on the porch railing with a paperback on her lap. It all looked like life again. I'd stopped trying to read between the lines. Stopped trying to catch her doing anything. Because, truth be told, I didn't want to catch her anymore. I just wanted my wife back. One Thursday night she asked me to come to class with her. Said Zane was doing a healing flow for couples and that I might like it. I raised an eyebrow and said, "You sure I won't embarrass you?" She laughed. "Maybe a little. But come on. It'll be fun." That class ended up being quiet, slow-paced, and full of words like release, openness, and gratitude. Not my thing exactly, but Dana held my hand through most of it, and Zane barely looked our way. Afterward, she kissed me in the parking lot and said, "You were good. And surprisingly flexible." I made a joke about her owing me a beer. She said she'd make it too. The next few days passed easy. She texted me through the day like she used to. Sent a photo of her and Murphy curled up on the couch. Said she was feeling lazy and peaceful. We made dinner together. Chicken and sweet potatoes. She asked me about work, actually listened. We sat on the couch after and watched a show we hadn't touched in weeks. I caught myself watching her instead of the TV. The way her foot rested against mine. The way she scratched Murphy's ears without looking. I thought, we're okay. I even said it out loud. She smiled, leaned her head on my shoulder, and said, "Yeah. I think we really are." Saturday afternoon she said she was going to class. Just one class. 45 minutes. She kissed me before she left. Told me she'd pick up something sweet on the way home. Said, "You deserve dessert." I watched her pull out of the driveway and felt nothing but peace. I went back to mowing the yard. Didn't check my phone. Didn't wonder if she was lying. Because I believed her. I believed all of it. An hour passed. Then 2. No text. No dessert. No Dana. I figured she'd gotten caught up with someone after class. It happened. The studio was downtown, right next to a smoothie bar she liked. Maybe she met up with a friend. At 3 hours, I sent a quick text. "All good?" No answer. I waited. At hour 4, I called. Went straight to voicemail. At hour 5, I still wasn't panicked. Not really. Just annoyed. I cracked a beer. Sat out back. Murphy laid next to me, head on my boot. I watched the trees move and told myself she probably left her phone in the car. Maybe her and the girls were getting dinner. Maybe traffic was bad. That's all. Just normal stuff. She was gonna walk in, all apologies, kiss me on the cheek, tell me some story about why she couldn't answer her phone, and I'd nod and say, "No worries," because we were past all that now. Right. Around 7:30, I saw her car roll into the driveway. My first instinct wasn't anger or suspicion. It was relief. She walked in with a grocery bag in her hand, a little too cheerful, like someone playing a role. "Hey babe. Sorry, I stopped at 2 stores. Couldn't find the right cake mix." Cake mix. She walked over, kissed me. "Phone died," she added, like it was an afterthought. "Didn't even realize till I got back to the car." I didn't say anything. Just nodded. Took the bag from her hand. Set it on the counter. She pulled her hair up into a messy bun and asked if I wanted to bake with her or just chill on the couch. I said, "Couch is fine." She smiled. "Love you." "Love you too." And I meant it. Because I still did. That night, while she slept next to me, I lay awake. Staring at the ceiling. Listening to the faint sound of the dryer tumbling one of her new tops. I wasn't thinking about where she'd been. Or why her phone really died. Or why she smelled faintly of patchouli again, after not wearing it for weeks. I just thought about how quiet everything had gotten between us. How peaceful it felt. How still. Like the kind of still you get right before something breaks. And I hope to God I was wrong. I woke up Sunday morning feeling lighter than I had in months. Dana was still asleep, curled up beside me, her breath slow and steady. Murphy was snoring down by my feet. Sunlight was spilling through the curtains just right, and for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like I was waiting for the other shoe to drop. She'd been good lately. Real good. Sweet. Present. Like her head was finally back in this house. We'd had dinner together 3 nights in a row. Real conversation. No vague stories, no defensiveness, no sudden showers. She was touching me again, smiling at me like she used to, like she meant it. It felt like things were in a corner. Hell, I even caught myself thinking maybe I owed her an apology. For all the doubt. All the questions. Maybe I'd let my own fears get too loud. Maybe I was looking for something that wasn't there. She stirred beside me, reached over, placed a lazy hand on my chest. She mumbled. Class this morning? Early. You okay if I sneak out? I nodded. Go for it. She kissed my neck. I'll be back before lunch. I said I'd make pancakes. She smiled. And just like that, she was out the door. I made the coffee. Fed Murphy. Turned on the radio like it was any other Sunday. Then I grabbed my phone, just out of habit, and scrolled through our shared calendar, mostly to see if she added anything I should know about. Dana was bad at leaving notes, but lately she'd started using the app again. That's when I saw it. Private session, 9 a.m., Studio C. Just like that. No emoji. No reminder. Just those words. It hit me funny. Because she hadn't mentioned anything about a private session. And Studio C? That wasn't the usual space for group flow. Studio C was the room upstairs. No windows. Used mostly for one-on-one work or quiet meditation. Something about it made my stomach turn. But I told myself, don't go looking for trouble. Not now. Not when things had been so good. I poured another cup of coffee. Sat back down. But my hands wouldn't sit still. Around 9:40, I found myself grabbing the keys. I didn't plan it. Didn't even tell Murphy I'd be back. I just needed to see her. To confirm what I was still hoping, was just a shadow in my mind. The studio wasn't far. 10 minutes tops. Her car was parked along the side like always. Nothing strange about that. But when I walked up to the front glass, the lights were low. Sign flipped to private session in progress. I didn't want to be that guy. Some jealous husband busting in and making a scene. But something in my chest started buzzing. And before I knew it, I was pulling open the door. The front desk was empty. No music playing. Just quiet, and the faint sound of voices upstairs. I walked slow. Real slow. Past the group studio. Up the narrow staircase. To the small hallway where Studio C sat at the end, door barely cracked open. That's when I heard her laugh. Not the fake kind she used for small talk or emails. Her laugh. The one I hadn't heard in months. The one that used to be mine. I stepped up to the door and looked in. And right then I knew. There she was, Dana, sitting cross-legged on the floor, in Zane's lap, arms around his neck like a damn teenage girl. His hand was on her thigh. Her forehead was resting against his. They weren't talking. Just sitting there. Breathing together. Intimate. Still. Too still. She didn't see me right away. Neither did he. I pushed the door open. They both flinched. Dana jerked back like she touched a hot stove. Zane just blinked. I didn't yell. Didn't swing. Didn't say a damn word at first. Just looked at her. And she looked back, eyes wide, mouth open, face strained of everything that had looked so peaceful the past few weeks. Wait, she started. I held up my hand. Don't. I stepped into the room. Zane stood up like maybe he was gonna do something useful. He didn't. I looked at Dana. This what clarity looks like? Her lip trembled. Please. No. No more. I looked at both of them. I gave you the benefit of the doubt. I put the damn fire out in my chest and told myself I was wrong. I pointed to the floor between them. Turns out, I should have trusted my gut. She tried to reach for me. I stepped back. Then I pulled the envelope from my jacket pocket. Same one I'd carried around for weeks. Phone logs. Text times. That hotel receipt she said was a girl's weekend. A photo of her car parked behind the studio on a night she said she was with friends. I tossed it on the floor at her feet. Here, I said. In case you forget how deep you lied. I turned and walked out. Didn't look back. Didn't need to. That night, I changed every password. Cancelled every account with her name on it. By Monday, the lawyer had everything he needed. She's tried Callan. Textin. Even showed up at my brother's house once. I didn't open the door. Because what's done is done. She let go first, I just finally caught up. And the second I did, I never felt more free.